In this Steam Winter Sale 2023 Best of video, I'm going to be going through the best games that are on sale right now and, the best deals for games that I think the Fextra Life community or Fextra Life audience would be interested in. This is primarily Souls and Souls-like games, CRPGs and tactical turn-based games, action and action RPG games, first-person action and first-person RPG games. These are the games that I think most of our audience will be interested in. There are some fringe games in here as well. But stay tuned at the end of the video. I'm going to go through what I think the best picks are, meaning like these are the best deals on the best games out of what we're going through here. So to start with, let's get into the Souls and Souls-likes. So I don't have a particular order on these, like this isn't like some recommendation on the order of these things, but just to go through the list of games that are on sale. Right now, Lords of the Fallen, the new one, is on sale for $38.99 USD. This is fantastic. We are huge fans of this game on this channel, and if you haven't got a chance to play this yet after many patches, it's in a much better state than it was at launch, and it's also at a much better price. So if you were somebody who's kind of like on the fence about this game and you were waiting for a better price, now might be a great time to jump into that game. Elden Ring is on sale for $35.99 USD, so if you've been living under a rock and you haven't played this game that won Game of the Year last year yet, you really should. This is, I think, the best price I've seen Elden Ring at yet, so if you have been waiting to pick up this game or you just couldn't afford this game, maybe now is the time to get it. Next, Lies of P is at $47.99 USD, and this is another Souls-like game that came out earlier this year that's fantastic. Arguably the best or one of the best Souls-likes ever made. Definitely between it and Lords of the Fallen, they've really raised the bar for Souls-likes, and maybe, there were so many games that came out this summer you didn't have time to pick it up or you've been waiting for a better deal. $47.99 is not the greatest deal ever, but it is certainly a discount on its full price. So if you've been waiting for some discount, and now might be a great time to pick it up. Next in Souls and Souls-likes is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. You can get this right now for $29.99 USD. This is a great price for Sekiro. This is a phenomenal game. It doesn't have the legs that some of the other From Software titles have in terms of replayability because it doesn't have like character customization and weapon selection and stuff like that, but it is an absolute phenomenal game to play regardless. And I don't think this game is going to get too much cheaper over the years. Most of these games, if you look at the Dark Souls franchise on Steam, they're still sitting around $30, $40 a game. I don't think Sekiro is going to go much lower than $29.99 USD. So if you've been trying to, pick this game up or been waiting for it to go on sale, I think you're probably going to get your best price now or, several years from now. Next, we have Code Vein, which is Bandai Namco's in-house Souls-like. This is $11.99 USD. This is a fantastic game in my opinion. I wasn't sure what to expect when we first played this game, having seen it a lot of times before it released. I was very skeptical about it. Really ended up enjoying the build variety in this game. $11.99 is a fantastic price. The graphics of the game are a little dated at this point, but I still think it's worth a playthrough. If you've been looking for a Souls-like to play that has more of a JRPG feel to it, this could be the game for you. Up next is Remnant 2, which is currently $29.99 USD. This is a fantastic price for this game. This game came out earlier this year, won our Best Multiplayer Award, was in the running for a slew of other awards from us as well. A lot of people thought maybe this game could be in contention for Game of the Year. It's an absolutely fantastic game. I don't think you're going to find a better price on this anytime soon. Next is Achilles Legends Untold. This is $14.99 USD. This is a game that I think slipped through a lot of people's radars because of all the launches that came out this year, but this is kind of like an isometric Souls-like game that's set like based on Greek mythology, and it's one that I enjoyed playing. I haven't played in a long time, but I really enjoyed playing this when I did, and I think for $14.99, if you're looking for something a little bit different in the Souls-like genre, you might want to check it out. And then we have Tymesia, which is $14.99 USD. This is the last Souls-like on my list. This game plays kind of like Bloodborne, or it has more of a Bloodborne aesthetic to it. It's definitely not as good as Lies of P in terms of its polish and gameplay, but it's still a fantastic game. So if you're looking for something that's a little more Bloodborne-like than you've already played through Lies of P, you might want to check out Tymesia. Just keep in mind that it doesn't quite have the production value of that game by a lot. Moving along to CRPGs and tactical turn-based. Keep in mind, again, these are not in any particular order. We have King Arthur Knight's Tale. This is $22.49 USD. This is a fantastic turn-based RPG based on the Arthurian myth, and I really liked the dark tone of this game. I also voice acted Lancelot in this game, so that was a lot of fun for me, so I'm a little bit biased about this game. But $22.49 I think is a very decent price. It's not the best price probably for this game, given that it's like a year or two old at this point, but it's still a fantastic game. If you've been looking for a solid turn-based tactical RPG, King Arthur Knight's Tale might be it for you, and there is a new DLC announced for this coming soon as well. Next, we obviously have Baldur's Gate 3. This is currently $53.99 USD on Steam. The base price was obviously $59.99, so this isn't a huge discount, but if for some reason you haven't gotten Baldur's Gate 3 yet, and you've been meaning to get it even at full price, might as well just go ahead and do it and save yourself a little bit of money if you're planning on getting it anyway. Next, Total War Warhammer 3, $29.99 USD. This is a fantastic strategy combat game, in my opinion, in the Total War franchise. I really like the Total War franchise, and this is a game we got sponsored to cover a little bit earlier this year, and I actually really enjoyed my time with this game. I love Warhammer. I love the way this game plays and feels. So if you're a Warhammer fan, you might want to check this one out. I don't think you're going to see a better price than $29.99 in the near future, so this is a really good deal in my opinion. Up next is Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition at $9.99 and Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition at $13.49. These are two fantastic games by Larian Studios. If you're a fan of Baldur's Gate 3 and you have not played these games yet, you really should. A lot of people really love Divinity Original Sin 2, and they don't talk about the original so much, the first game, but I love that game almost as much as the second game. It's so good. So if you haven't played the first game, you really should. It's absolutely worth a playthrough, and these are very good prices. Don't think you're ever going to find pretty much better prices than these. Up next is Disco Elysium Final Cut for $9.99. This is a phenomenal game. It is a game that blew people away when it came out, but it is not for everyone, admittedly. It is a very heavily story-driven game, dialogue-driven game with not a lot of action, combat, etc. to it. So you have to have a particular, acumen for this game, and you also have to have a very dark and twisted sense of humor, which makes this game arguably one of the best games ever made. It has an extremely high rating on Metacritic, and if you're looking for something a bit different and you haven't played Disco Elysium yet, you really want to have some great laughs and a great time, this is a great one if you don't mind like a little bit of reading and exposition. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous Enhanced Edition is our next game at $11.99 USD. This is an absolutely massive game for $12, essentially. And this game's gotten a lot of patches since releases. It was a little rough at launch. It's been a while since the launch of this game. If you haven't played Wrath of the Righteous yet, it's a great time to jump into it at that price point. There are also a lot of DLCs for the game that can enhance your experience if you want to pick those up. But this is absolutely fantastic price for this game, and highly recommend getting it if you haven't played it yet. Up next is Expeditions Rome at $17.99 USD. This is a fantastic game. This is one that caught me off guard when I first played it. I wasn't expecting much from this game, and it's absolutely fantastic. The tactical turn-based is very good. The way you can customize your characters and the dialogue options and choices and scenarios that pop up in the game are phenomenal. And I don't think you're going to find this game at a better price. These games don't typically go on sale that often for a very steep discount. So if you've been looking for something a little bit different in terms of tactical RPGs, Expeditions Rome is a great one that you might want to pick up. Next is Marvel's Midnight Suns at $19.79 USD. I absolutely love the combat of Marvel's Midnight Suns. It has some of the best turn-based combat I've played in recent memory. It's made by Firaxis, makers of XCOM, so no surprise that the combat is really good. The storytelling in the game was kind of mid, in my opinion. It wasn't fantastic, and there were some parts that were quite dull. It is very heavily dialogue-driven outside of combat with things that I wasn't particularly interested about. Luckily, you can skip through a lot of that and go straight back into the combat. But if you're someone who was kind of on the fence of this game, knowing those things about it, and you were waiting for a better price to pick it up, I don't think you're going to get a better price than $19.79 USD. So next we come to action and action RPGs. First on our list is Hogwarts Legacy at $29.99. This is a fantastic game. I absolutely loved Hogwarts Legacy. I was not expecting it to kind of capture the magic of Harry Potter as much as it did. And, as a grown-ass adult playing a Harry Potter game, it's hard for me to really want to get into that as much, even though I really love Harry Potter. But Hogwarts Legacy still managed to make it enjoyable, even for me, someone who plays, hardcore RPGs. So I think if you haven't played Hogwarts Legacy and you're a Harry Potter fan, you really should. $29.99 is probably one of the better prices you're going to get, considering Warner Brothers doesn't like to discount some of their best games all that often. Next, we have Monster Hunter World at $9.89 USD, Monster Hunter World Iceborne at $14.79 USD, and Monster Hunter Rise at $59.99 USD. And there are a slew of other deals on these Monster Hunter, Rise expansions, etc., combo packs, etc. But these are fantastic games with like over 100 hours of gameplay. If you haven't played Monster Hunter yet, both installments, World and Rise, are phenomenal for their own reasons. Highly recommend picking these ones up. With the announcement of Monster Hunter Wilds coming, Now is such a great time to learn Monster Hunter if you haven't, so you can just jump into WoW's like kind of understanding how these games play. Next is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade at $34.99 USD. And this is the greatest price for this. This is not a new game, and it's definitely not everyone's cup of tea, but I actually really enjoyed the remake for what it was. I'm excited for Rebirth coming in February. And if you haven't played this yet and you're planning on playing Rebirth, now might be the time to get it so you can get through this one and get ready for Rebirth in February. After that, we have Wild Hearts at $27.99. This is like EA's take on Monster Hunter, and it's actually really fun to play and really well done, in my opinion. My biggest complaint about this game at launch was its performance, but that was many, many months ago. So I imagine the performance of the game has improved since then. $27.99 is not a bad price for this game, considering how new it is and how much content you get out of it. So if you like Monster Hunter type gameplay, haven't played Wild Hearts yet, now might be a good time to get that one. Next, we come to Outriders. This is $9.99. This is Square Enix's sort of third-person like RPG shooter game. I really enjoyed this when it came out. It had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people kind of hated on this game, but I really had a ton of fun with it. Sort of felt like playing a hack and slash RPG like Diablo or PoE, but like from a third-person shooter. The way the loot was handled in the game, I really, really enjoyed it. My only gripe at launch was having hitching. I think that's been patched out of the game. So $9.99 is a great price for this game if you've been looking for something in that vein. Jedi Survivor is next, coming in at $34.99 USD. This is the latest Star Wars game. Arguably my favorite Star Wars game in recent memory. Like, there's just been a lot of bad Star Wars games that came out. Fallen Order was pretty decent in my opinion, but Survivor is even better than that. If you haven't played Survivor yet, and you're kind of on the fence about Fallen Order, or you didn't like it so much, but you kind of liked it, I think Survivor is a bit better than that game. It's a bit more adult in my opinion. My complaint about this game, which you probably heard a couple times already, was performance at launch. I'm sure it's better now than it was at launch, but otherwise, everything else about the game was absolutely fantastic. I don't think you're going to get a much better price on Jedi Survivor in the near future. Guardians of the Galaxy is the next game on our list at $14.99. This is a game we got sponsored to do on stream by Square Enix, and it's actually really good. I was not expecting it to be, I'll be honest, but when I played it, the soundtrack, the witty lines, the gameplay, all of it was really, really fun. $14.99 is a great price for this game. If you haven't played this yet, or you've been curious about it, highly recommend this one. Next on our list is Dead Space Remake, $23.99 USD. This is a fantastic remake in my opinion. I absolutely loved playing through this. If you haven't played through the remake yet, this is a good opportunity to pick it up. $23.99 is not super expensive. It's not the greatest deal, but keep in mind that this game is fairly new. And I think you're probably not going to find a much better price on it in the near future, even if it is a little bit high in my opinion. But it's still extremely fun. If you're a Dead Space or horror fan, definitely look at picking this one up. Next on our list is Nier Automata at $15.99 USD. This is not a new game, but it is a fantastic action RPG. Has a very quirky and unique story in the way that it's told. If you are into that sort of thing, highly recommend this game. The combat is very fluid. The gameplay is very fast and interesting. If that sounds good to you, $15.99 is a pretty good price for this. I don't think it's like the best price you will ever see for this game, but it's certainly not the worst. If you haven't played it yet, now might be a great time to pick it up. After that, we have The Ascent at $8.99 USD. This is a fantastic sort of top-down twin-stick shooter RPG, and it's just stupid fun, and you can co-op this game, play with friends, and I really, really enjoyed this when it came out. There's just a lot to love about this game. It's just silly action combat fun. $8.99 is a great price for this. I mean, how many of these types of games are there, let alone, some that are $8.99 that are worth it? So definitely recommend this one if you like that sort of game. And then Witcher 3, $9.99 USD. Probably not going to get a better price on Witcher 3 anytime soon. Maybe like $7.99 or something like that on another sale. If you haven't played Witcher 3 yet for some reason, now would be a great time to get it. Next one, Neo 2 Complete Edition, $29.99. This is fantastic. Neo 2 as one of our highest reviewed games of all time. The combat is fantastic. Character customization is fantastic. Just has a really good mix of things going for it, and it was even better than the first game. Getting the Complete Edition for $29.99 is a fantastic price in my opinion. Definitely consider picking that up if you like Neo and you have not played Neo 2 yet. Beyond that, we have Greedfall at $6.99 USD. Greedfall is one of those games that's definitely not going to be for everyone, but it has like sort of this appeal to it that you can't really explain unless you've played it. The voice acting is actually pretty decent, the storytelling is pretty decent, and the combat is pretty decent. None of them are outstanding, but for $6.99, if you are looking for new, different sort of RPG than you've really played before, you might want to check out Greedfall. And then last on the action and action RPG games is Diablo 4 coming in at $41.99. A lot of people probably are not appreciative that I put this on this list, but Diablo 4 is actually a really good game in my opinion. And if you haven't played it yet for $41.99, it's probably the best price you're going to have for a while. Blizzard doesn't typically discount their games much, and there's hundreds of hours to be had in Diablo 4. So if you haven't picked it up yet and you're interested in getting it, now might be a good time to do that. On the last category on our list is first-person games. This is a very short category. First is Mass Effect Legendary Edition at $5.99 USD. This is fantastic. We reviewed this a while back, and they absolutely did an outstanding job on kind of like remastering this game. And for $5.99, you really can't beat the amount of content you're going to get from this if you haven't played it yet. Mass Effect, arguably one of the best RPG franchises of all time. Definitely pick this up if you haven't played it before. Then we have Kingdom Come Deliverance, also at $5.99 USD. This is a fantastic game that's definitely not for everyone. It has more of a realism nature to it, and combat can take a little bit, to get used to, but the freedom that you have in that game is absolutely phenomenal. If you're looking for something a bit different than other RPGs you've played before, and you want something that's kind of like visually very sexy and have a lot of freedom, then Kingdom Come Deliverance might be that game for you. Next on our list is Starfield. I know, Starfield. $48.99 USD. This is already on sale. If you haven't played it, you're on the fence about it. I know a lot of people, this game is very polarizing. We really enjoyed it, but not everyone enjoyed it. Not everything about the game is great. In my opinion, combat is kind of meh, to put it mildly. But if you've been on the fence about this game, you've been waiting for a better ballpark to jump in, or a better price point to jump in and check it out, now might be the time at that price point. Or you can wait longer. And then we come to Cyberpunk 2077, which is $29.99. This isn't the greatest price for Cyberpunk. There is a lot to love about Cyberpunk. They've been really patching the game. CD Projekt Red, they had a new 2.0 update. So if you haven't played it before, now might be a great time to pick it up. It's in much better shape than it was at launch. $29.99 is not the best price ever, but I don't think you're going to see too much lower in the near future. You might get like $19.99 at the end of 2024, Steam sale or whatever. But I don't think you're going to see much lower than $20.99 throughout the year. And then lastly, The Outer Worlds is $19.79 USD. And this is another game that I really enjoyed that hasn't aged as well, in my opinion, over time, just because there have been so many better games that have come out since then. But it's just a solid Obsidian first-person title. If you just like the way Obsidian games are designed, $19.79 is not the best price ever for The Outer Worlds, but it's also not the worst. So if you've been looking for a good first-person RPG, and you haven't played The Outer Worlds yet, you might want to check that out. Okay, so before we wrap up this video, I just want to give you what I think are my best picks. If I didn't have these games, what I would recommend to myself to buy at these price points. This is not necessarily a reflection of the games themselves, but the games themselves plus the price that they're currently at. So it's a combination of those two things when I'm factoring these in. Best picks, I think, are Elden Ring. Obviously, I don't think you're going to see a better price on that for a while. Remnant 2, fantastic. Lords of the Fallen, very good price point for such a new game. DOS 1 and 2, I don't think you're going to see lower prices than those probably ever. Disco Elysium, also very good price for a game that arguably one of the best games I've ever played. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, again, another one that's fantastic. I don't think you're going to see a lower price point than this anytime soon. Expedition Rome is fantastic. It's just one that I think a lot of people don't give enough credit, and if you haven't played it, it's great, and I don't think you're going to see a better price than that for a long time either. Marvel's Midnight Suns coming in at like $20. I don't think you're going to see a lower price than that. I would definitely recommend that one. Hogwarts Legacy, $29.99. You might see this lower at some point later in 2024. Very unlikely it's going to be anytime soon, though. Same with Jedi Survivor, $34.99. I know that sounds expensive, but this is a relatively new game, and I don't think you're going to see a lower price for a very long time. The Ascent at $8.99 USD is, again, another game I don't think you're going to see lower than that for a long time, and it's absolutely worth $9 for sure. Neo Complete Edition, $29.99. Highly recommend this one if you haven't played Neo 2 yet. Such a good game, and I don't think you're going to be able to beat that price for a long time. Diablo 4, $41.99. Again, Blizzard doesn't typically put their games on sale for very much, so I don't think you're going to see this game lower or at this price again for a long time. Maybe next Steam sale next year, you might see it at a similar price or a little bit lower, but I don't think you're going to see it at that price anytime soon. And then lastly, Mass Effect Legendary Edition and Kingdom Come Deliverance, both $5.99 USD. I don't see how these can ever be priced lower than that, ever. So if you're looking for some good first-person games, Mass Effect Legendary is fantastic. Kingdom Come Deliverance, fantastic. You're probably never going to find a lower price than that. So that wraps up our Steam Winter Sale video. I hope we went through some games that, you are very interested in, and some of these prices behoove you. If there's games I forgot or games that should be on this list, You can leave them in the comments below. There are so many games on sale right now. I tried to do my best to get the ones I thought you guys would really be interested in. So let me know in the comments if there's anything I missed, and let me know what you think. What are you playing right now? What did you pick up? Let me know in the comments below.